Right? Whatever, I think it was called Butterfly. Named after it.
You nervous?
No, that was all you needed.
You good?
I'm good.
I'm still just having the lyrics for Gyro. So,
I'm not really nervous. I just don't know what we're talking about.
So,
Wing it, brother. You have any current events you want to talk about?
She got TV.
Well, first talk about.
And what that is, an embedded.
I want to talk
video
briefly about
from
sports,
YouTube, so
and then we're going to talk about the cop shooting the guy.
Can I download it?
Okay, and
you should be
generally,
able to,
since things are going on in
YouTube, you
the
can
country
download
worldwide,
it.
and a lot of things are going on. Honestly,
You can share it, right?
we'll talk
Put it
about
to your
how cops are
website.
shooting people on the regular, okay? We'll talk about that. And then, somehow
Yeah,
segue,
you
like,
can
these kids are suffering. You know, the kids of these parents are
It's in bed,
suffering.
what
These
you
kids are
want
the ones
is
who are out there
bed.
fighting.
Yo, give me a cue. Mr. Chuck Chuck. Got another set, man. Hey, Sid, just give me a cue, bro. Find the set, like the third side. That's my beat, that's your video. Can we get like a better focus in right here? A little bit focus in.
I can't see me.
I can't see me either, my friend. I see me, but I don't see me. That's a little bit better. That's a little bit better. Hold on. I think he's got it. I think he's got it. Give it a second. He's gonna focus in.
You look like a princess with that behind your head. That's straight out of Disney.
Here we go.
Instead of straight out of
You know, did I interrupt your show?
Disney.
It's my show now.
Oh, wait, let me grab my phone.
Chuck? We're on the. Like I gotta tell.
Now you know what it is?
I gotta tell the man. I gotta tell the man.
Quiet conversation is appreciated. We were.
That's not quiet. I hear you. I hear you.
All right.
If I hear you, they hear you.
Tag,
I was doing sign language when I was talking shit today.
tag,
I didn't say nothing.
tag.
Yeah, what?
Tag, honey. The thing behind you makes it look like
All right. Anyways,
Welcome.
welcome to Real Talk 360. Today, unfortunately, well, fortunately for him. No, unfortunately for Julio that he's not here. Well, fortunately for Julio, he's in Costa Rica. Mr. Esco Julio
I got your
Jordan.
phone calls already.
From him? I've been getting pictures. He's been like teasing me. Anyway, our host today, our co-host today, Julio Jordan's not here today, Mr. Esco. So we got my other brother right here, Mr. Adrian.
Franco.
There you go. He's also the one that did the video for our intro.
That's me.
We got cheerleaders over here.
yay.
He's also the one that did the video intro for us. A very good artistic and creative person right here. Very.
Thank you.
Dude, I put my ideas in your hands and you make them go somewhere else. So I appreciate you coming in and filling in, brother. Thank you so much. Today we got some exciting things to talk about. We have an exciting guest, in my opinion. Julio, I don't like you. I hope that you get bit by a barracuda and get bit by a mosquito that makes your left nut swell up this big. I don't like that you're in Costa Rica showing me pictures, and I'm over here in Rochester with a gloomy ass day. But that is life. So nevertheless, let's talk about a couple things that are going on.
Yeah, like I don't have a drink.
You want water?
Last week they had tacos, drinks.
That's the man over there.
You get a guest and
You can have something.
I get nothing.
You go on.
I get nothing.
Hold on. Water. Water for my friend. Watch this.
You walk in front of the camera, sir.
You're supposed to crawl across the floor.
No, that's okay. I want people to see. You shall have water very soon. Okay? There's a couple social issues I want to talk about. Mainly one.
Yeah.
There is something that's been killing YouTube, killing Facebook. You just treated my co-host like that? That was very mean, Chuck. That's not even like you. That's something I would do.
I expected him to give him that bottle.
Wow. Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck.
Wegmans.
Anyways, there's something that's going on around on the internet right now, very big right now, and it's been going on big for the past I don't know how many years. And I know something huge is going to happen in America because of something that's going on right now. And this is probably going to be the epitome. And I don't understand why people are rallying, want justice, want justice. This man's already facing life or death. It's a cop that shot 8 times at a runaway black man. And I have to say black man because it is a white officer and a black officer, which has been the dilemma that's been going on with America right now. Every time there's an officer involved and a victim, it's always been a black victim. And with the exception of Zimmerman, which he's Latino, but you might as well call him white. But a white officer. So there's a lot of this racism is hitting hard right now. These are the times where I gotta say, like, where is Dr. King at? We need a Dr. King right here, not a Reverend Al Sharpton that wants to come in the limelight and show his face. I care less for that man, but a Dr. King or someone that comes with faith that comes into the picture with trying to take care of the civil issues that are going on in America. This is something huge. This isn't something little. This is big, America. There's something going on with the people that we pay. You pay out of your tax money. Every time you pay, I don't care if you don't own a house or not. If you pay to buy a dress, if you pay to buy bacon, food, whatever, doesn't matter. Those state sales taxes go to something. They go to a pot. And that pot pays for the civil servants. I'm a civil servant. I work for the city of Rochester. I'm a code enforcement officer. So we have this situation right now where we are afraid of the people who are supposed to protect us. Now we have a video. We don't have it here to show. But we have a video of an officer shooting a man that ran away from him and shot him 8 times. Then handcuffed him. Apparently that's procedure, but I'm sorry, but I think if I shoot someone once, I don't think I have to handcuff him. I think he's more worried about his wound if I shoot him in the leg. What are your thoughts on that? Have you even had any thoughts? Has this even crossed your mind? Because, I mean, this has been going on for Ronnie Keene days, O.J. Simpson days. I mean, this has been going on, the riots and the racial conflict has been going on strong. I think today, in my opinion, racism is at its peak more than it's ever been. Ever. Because now you could shake someone's hand. Well, the thing, here's a crazy thing. Excuse me. You can shake a man's hand. You will never know if he doesn't like you or not because of the color of your skin until you turn your back and he says something about you within himself or shares it with someone else. Racism is so hard and heavy at a high level right now that it's breaking this country apart. It's tearing the country apart. Have you had thoughts on this?
I always got to play devil's advocate. And I have a lot of friends in RPD.
I have a few.
Family members in RPD. People that definitely bust their behind. One, to feed their family. Because at the end of the day, it's their job.
It's their job.
And I have tensions with this.
On both sides?
On both sides.
I do too.
I do too. Because you know what? There's way more good in this world than there is evil. But what we see, what is televised, what is pushed, what is endorsed, what is on World Star, what is on YouTube, is people acting reckless.
The media has always been the main vehicle to deceive us and make us think a certain way. We're going to go off of what we see, and we're already going to take sides. And people need to start forming their own opinion. People need to start learning how to gather facts and say, you know what? Why did this person get shot? Not because of the color of his skin. Don't look at that. Why did he get shot? I'm not saying that whatever happened wasn't racially tensioned. Whatever the reason, I wasn't there. I don't know why the cop shot the guy. I know he was a white officer and it was a black victim. That's all I know. What happened before that, and not just that situation. I'm not there to think for these people. I'm not there. But because the media puts it out there for the viewers, mind you, 100, 200, I don't know how many, 300, 400 million people in America, I don't know. The numbers are up there. They're staggering. But when you have people that form their own opinions, sometimes good, sometimes bad. They form it off of right away. They see something, or some people like me, I like to get the facts. What happened? But the media starts to stagger their minds and start to say, this is what happened. And most of the people start to go, oh yeah, that was mad. Oh, that was messed up. And now you get them enraged. You get them all messed up and pissed off because it was racially motivated.
Right.
And now it gets implanted
Well,
in
you're not
your
going to
mind.
get the same news from Fox that you're going to get from CNN.
I personally believe the media is all motivated in a certain way to mess with people. I just do that. That's just me. I don't believe in anything in the news. I just don't. Honestly, the stuff that they tell you not to read on the internet is the stuff that I research and I find out for myself. I'd rather find out for myself. Just like 9/11, they implanted the word terror in our minds. If you go back to 9/11 and you think about how many times you watch the news and they said the word terror or terrorist, they implanted it in your mind, body, and soul to the point where you became afraid. You had fear. And I think right now, for some reason, someone's trying to implant something where we become a divided nation. And let me tell you something, this is not going to end good. It's going to end ugly. When you have people, listen, this is stuff that happens in prisons. And they live by that. That's fine. That's another world. But when you're in the social everyday life, I don't want to walk around thinking because I'm Hispanic and I have a brown skin that someone, is going to have a problem with me. And so I've had black people sometimes like, you don't go through nothing. Or even white people like, you're good. You're Hispanic, you're in the middle. Like, no, that's not true.
It's not true.
That's not true at all. Listen, I'm sitting in the middle. We're like the parents. Because we have our black kids and our white kids who are fighting, and who they blame? The parents. Because we kind of share, if you put the black and white together, what they make? Brown, pretty much. And, it's like we get blamed for everything. It's like, no, you're brown. You're not educated, you're not this. So I'm tired of people looking at the problem as a color thing. It is not a color. If anything, it's the way you grow up and the way you educate yourself. It's how you depict who you are as a person. You should not have to worry about, and unfortunately, that's the way the world is. You go out there and you have to defend your color. You have to defend your culture and your life.
Well, again, to play devil's advocate, because of the word terror, now all of a sudden anybody from the Middle East is point at
Very
and
good
judge
point taken.
So,
do you feel when you go on a plane and you see someone from Middle Eastern area with a turban or whatever, or a shawl or whatever, do you feel threatened? Do you feel concerned? There's a little bit. Does it cross? There's something, right?
You're like, oh.
But whose fault is that? Because before 9/11, you didn't have no issues.
That's true.
You didn't have no issues, and in my opinion, they had nothing to do with that. And that's me. That's just another topic. I don't believe that the Middle Eastern people had anything to do with that. That's just me. Another topic. I'm not here to be conspiracy theorists, whatever. I'm not. Yeah, but I'm not gonna do that in this show. I could be here. I could be here forever doing that, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. But the people who pay, and we can get down to the nitty gritty as far as things like music, hip hop. People are looking at things on the TV. I feel like the media is also using distractions like reality shows to distract our children. And these children are acting bad. All I see on Facebook now is kids fighting. And they're getting like 100,000, 10,000 hits or whatever. All for fighting. Ignorance. I'm telling you, Dr. King is rolling over in his grave right now because he sees, because I don't believe that he fought just for the black people. I think he fought a color barrier just like Jackie Robinson did because, at the end of the day, it's really a money thing. It's not a color thing. They're just trying to, I just think the powers that be are just trying to say, you know what, there's a poor people and then there's rich people. We're going to keep the people in the hood, and we're going to keep, because in the hood, you got all colors. You got white, black, Hispanic, you got Asian, you got Arab, you got Indian, you got Chinese, you got everything. I know, I work in that. I see all cultures in there. The struggle is not color. The struggle is really finances. Finances and education. So I'm like, they're trying to distract our minds from that by entertaining us with this bullshit. I try not to curse.
Called programming?
It's called programming. I believe that. I believe they're trying to, like, who the hell cares about what the Kardashians are doing? I could really care less about what the hell they're doing. I don't care how big her ass is. I don't care. And honestly, if I had a shot, I wouldn't wife her down. She has no talent. You know, she's nothing. I'm like, she's just someone that cares about herself. She has vanity. She's all about vanity, and I can care less about that. But our children, to me, their mother and father right now, it used to be MTV. Now it's all the channels that play any kind of reality TV. And I feel bad for the kids because they're the ones that think that they're living it up. And that's the topic for today because our...
Oh!
What is it?
It's real talk. It's real talk.
If we turn you away, can you still see the show? We're going to turn you away. Can we put it that way?
Just watch him.
Oh, we can watch him up there?
Talk to him now. He's now on the screen.
Well, wait. I want to see us. We got to talk and no one's going to see us. Okay. Hold on. Real quick. Julio, say what's up. Tell us how you doing.
I am okay, represent live on Real Talk Direct.
Like you're doing a Hitler speech. It's echoing.
So how y'all doing over there? What's going on?
They offer water.
Y'all ready to get some water?
Yes, it is.
You're on the
Beat signal Costa Rica. I don't want to talk to you.
I love you, though. Are you watching?
I can't hear you now. He's not talking.
I see you.
Turn it up. I can't hear him. Oh, he's scared.
I see you.
No, why'd you make this so difficult? Why'd you even let him in?
Are you
on a boat?
Can y'all hear me?
Are you on a boat?
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Are you on a boat?
I'm on a boat, no?
You're
You're lying. The nice part, I guess. I don't know.
Anyways,
I don't got time to deal with this.
We got a
show to do.
Julio, I love you. We gotta go. You're interrupting.
I want to be a part
I'm on
of
a roll right now. You're interrupting, brother. How dare you, thousand miles away, trying to rub it around my face like this?
That's my.
Deuces.
We can't hear you. The wind for the breeze
and
and the ocean is distracting us.
Is it really?
Say adios.
Dude, that's the wind from your top lip.
That's how you
That's
say
the
it.
wind from.
So where's my top lip? Really, you guys just laugh at that.
We gotta go. We gotta do an interview.
Represent Real Talk 360, and we out. Do your thing.
We out.
Comfortable.
So
Don't throw no monkey wrenches in my show like that. I don't like that. Only monkey wrench I like throwing is when I go to the zoo and the little monkeys are throwing the crap at me. And I dodge them. That works on my Wing Chun.
Dodge a wrench. You can just
I dodge
You can
it.
dodge a ball.
So, speaking about today's future, our children, not just mine directly, but children in general, I decided, why not have someone that I felt should have been on the show a long time ago. A good dear friend of ours, not just mine, yours as well. And hear from his side and then hear his journey. This guy, I go way, way back with him. I'd like to introduce Real Talk 360 and my Udicci family over to my dear friend named Harry Roldan. What's up, brother? Thanks for coming on.
Good. How you
that's how you greet a gentleman. You see that?
I hugged them.
Aprende.
Whatever.
Anyways. Are you going to start with the jokes?
No, I'm just saying I feel like a child here.
Wait, hold on. Let me put that picture. Let me put that picture up.
He wants a booster.
A booster. You want to help me too? No, do that face on Tuesday.
You want to do the table?
No, it's okay. Anyways, we got a dear friend named Harry Roldan. Harry Roldan and I go way back. Which camera am I looking at? That one? Okay, right
You
there.
just talk.
No. Stop directing. Sit there and be an audience. Anyways, Harry Roldan.
That's what I'm gonna tell you next week.
What? When I'm here. I run this
Like,
thing.
stop directing, Sasha.
What? Oh. Anyways, Mr. Harry Roldan and I go as far back as to the Thomas Jefferson Middle School days. I was a 2-year failing. I failed 6th and 8th. not because I was stupid, because I did stupid things. And I moved to Puerto Rico, and I came back, and they gave me a choice of a school, and my brother was already going to Jefferson. And I was, I think I was probably the oldest kid in the school at that time. But I went to school, and I met Mr. Harry Roldan. He was actually my school counselor. He doesn't look it. Don't let the looks deceive you, but he was my school counselor back then. And me and Harry from there, throughout the years, oh my gosh, I was 15, I'm 39 right now, OMG. That's a long time. And throughout the years, I have been nothing but gracious and respectful to this man. And I want to give the floor to him, and I want you to talk about, briefly, because we only got, obviously, a certain period of time today, but I want you to talk about your journey from New York City to here, to how you got to your career where you're at right now. Talk briefly about your school counseling endeavors, and then talk about something that is very important that people should know about and be more educated about, which is child protectives. Take the floor.
Sure. Well, thank you for having me over. As I said, my name is Harry Roldan. I worked for the city school district for 25 years. That's why I know this man for such a long time.
He called me man.
And I basically came from New York City to pursue my graduate degree in school counseling.
Why here?
Well,
you told me the story, but I think they should know. It's funny how it worked out.
At Old Westbury, I was with my boy Ed Vieta, and he said to me, "Yo, look, check this out, a 1-year program where you can knock out your master's degree." So I was like, "Bet, vamos para allá. So let's go." We went there, and of course, when we get there, they flipped the script and they said, "Oh no, we're going to be accredited now, so now it's going to be a 2-year program." So we were stuck here for 2 years. It's like, one day we're feeding for some rice and beans. So I said, "Dude, I don't know where to go to. I heard this place called Rochester or something." I said, "Well, let's go."
Because where were you at before that?
We were Brockport.
Brockport.
Small little town. If you close your eyes, you miss it.
What part of New York City?
The Lower East Side, Delancey
That's
Street.
the outside, Clinton and Delancey.
See, there we go.
Oh my God.
Stop cheerleading. Let the man talk.
So we get up here and we start looking for rice and beans, and we found El Caldero, which was owned by Manolo.
On Hudson at that time? On Hudson. That was the original one.
With the big
Remember that one?
Yeah. And we get there, and of course it took about an hour to get from Brockport to Rochester.
Was that winter?
No, it was actually spring. We were just lost. So we get there, and lo and behold, I found Rochester. I thought it was a great little place. Small enough to get around in, big enough to get lost in. And made our home here. Well, I made my home here. And this is back in 1987, that I came up here. And graduated in 90.
Were you born at that time?
I was 2 years old.
He was a zygote.
Adrian was just born. 2 years. And diapers.
Right.
He's looking for food. He's chitting in his pants. Just saying. I had to put that out there. Go ahead.
So no, then got involved with the community right away. Worked for the Lewis Street Center, which is defunct. Under Beverly Mavens, was a counselor at in that program. Where I met Hector Alanzoni and worked with him with the San Juan Bautista Festival, which I don't even think they do it anymore at this point in time. From there, I got into the city school district. I finally graduated, and my first job was at Jefferson Middle School, and they had just transferred the middle school the middle school concept, because they originally had 7 through 12.
Yeah, I remember that.
At the high schools, and then they moved.
That was the thing for years.
Yeah. So Jefferson became one of the schools that became a middle school, and it was chaotic. It was very chaotic.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
The bell would ring, and you would have like 900 kids just walk and move. And then finally somebody came up with the concept of block scheduling, which they staggered the bells. And that's when they had houses.
Yeah, I remember that.
Saratoga,
Emerson, Edgerton, and all that, yeah.
But then from there...
which every school had in their own way.
Yes.
I remember Douglas had Blue House, Red House,
Right,
Gold House,
exactly.
Green House.
Right. And from there I moved on and bounced around some of the school districts. I actually became director of Hispanic Studies for half a second in 2000. And that lasted very short because I saw the writing on the wall with the politics. And I'm not a politics man. I'm more rank and file,
You get your hands dirty and stuff, yeah.
And I went back to the building, went to Freddie Thomas, and then from there from Jefferson, and wound up at School Out Walls.
Now, did you want to get into this field, or?
Well, what happened was, it was interesting. At Old Westbury back in '86, I was one of the youngest counselors, and Old Westbury catered to like MCC or No Generate and Know the Crowd. not your traditional high school student. I mean, high school graduate. And as a result, that's where I met Eddie Vieira, and he told me about the program. And it was kind of.
Because you never set out for this, right?
No, I kind of felt. I always had good ears in high school. People always came to me. My friends, my boys were always the kind of.
So you had this thing, what? I think I'm going to work with this little counseling thing.
Well, it felt good. I took a sociology class in high school.
Let me tell you something. Not to cut you off, but let me tell you as a mind.
You cut him off.
No, I did that.
Let him talk.
No, from point of view.
Get it out.
When I'm speaking from real talk, because it is real talk, right? It is the show Real Talk. When I was a kid in that school, I was a badass kid. He could tell you my mom worked for the school district at that time. She had to come cover for me sometimes and pull her rank. But if it weren't for the fact that, she could have pulled out her rank. I was as bad. But I felt because I had a connection to another Latino person or another minority. He could have been black, Hispanic, or anything. I just felt like I had that connection that because I felt like he knew where I came from, I could talk to him. And I felt that was important. So I kind of bonded and I was able to talk to him. That didn't really help me in the sense where I was still going to do the messed up things I was going to do. But at least I had that outlet. And
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
So, in '92 there was going back. In '92 there was the what you call the budget cuts, and that's when I got laid off because last hired, first fired, and got blessed and was able to work with CPS with Child Protective in the after-hour shift because they need somebody who spoke Spanish. And since I had a small little tour of duty in New York City, for like 5 months of doing Child Protective.
that was what year?
Back in '87.
Wow.
Yeah, so 86 I was working with Westbury, then I went to Child Protective. And
I thought this was more recent for you.
What, Child Protective?
Yeah.
Oh, no. I've been doing that over part-time though. Part-time, full-time. For about 23 years now. Since
So
92.
fast forward to today.
Yeah.
You are now what do you do for Hispanic Studies?
Well, no, that was way back. I went back to being a school counselor, and now I work at number 9 school as a school counselor, full-time, in one building, which is a luxury.
So you're a school counselor for number 9 school.
Number 9 school. And I also still work per diem with Child Protective Services.
And you've been doing that since 80...
Since 92.
92. I'm on the 83.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
how's the Child Protective thing working out for you?
well,
I guess I don't want to go too far into that. I guess my question is, why Child Protective?
Well, I did it back in New York. They were looking for somebody who spoke Spanish, and it was one of those friend of a friend of a friend of a friend. And I wind up on the 7th floor of 111 West 4. And I said, hey, I heard you guys are looking for somebody who speaks Spanish. And they looked at me like, where the hell did you come from? You know what I'm saying? So it turns out that I had enough experience. I did some of the training for the most part, the background training, of course. And they allowed me to work for them. And I learned through the fire, of course, because nighttime visits are very different from daytime visits for folks.
Dangerous too, I can imagine.
It can be. Cops always give me props in terms of like, man, I got guns, I got handcuffs, I got mace, or I got a little badge going, Child Protective, Unless I'm like, Wonder Woman, ching 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 ching, that kind of thing. So, but it's been a blessing. I feel that when I deal with families, I give them the utmost respect. I always let them know their rights. In terms of what they can, what
do you find the biggest challenge today with Child Protective? And you know what? I guess on top of that, I want you to continue when you answer that question. I want you to think about Child Protective. Period. Mm-hmm. What are these kids are in danger of? Are normal people to us? Will we see the dangers? Will we always notice that? Like, that kid's in trouble.
I think in general, if you suspect something, you can call it in. To the local hotline.
By the way, what's the number?
461-5690. 461-5690. It's the local number that we have, and we're one of the few counties that have a local number.
Okay.
Most people have to call the 1-800 number and call Albany. But if you suspect something and you feel like you need to, sort of like run something by somebody.
But do you always see the signs? Do you always notice the signs?
You may not, because give you an example. You have an educational neglect. Educational neglect is basically a kid's not going to school for over 20 days, and as a result, the school has called and has filed a report. Now, in the context of that educational neglect, you may walk into that house and all of a sudden you see, weed on the table, or you may see, all of a sudden, Papi's a little frisky with the little girl. You know what I'm saying? And you may not have even noticed that for the most part.
Off of attendance.
Off of just attendance, exactly. A lot of it also too could be domestic issues.
You said 20 days.
Well, that's the standard.
20 to 25 days.
Yeah.
So that's something important for people to know right there. If your child, or if you know a child, if you have a cousin, and you know that he or she's slacking at raising their kids, and they're missing mass school, can you anonymously call this in?
You can call anonymously as well. I mean, again, you won't know what's happening, which is what most of the struggles with the public is, that people don't understand that there's certain things behind the scene that Child Protective can and can't do.
Oh, some people call in and they want to get an update. Oh, tell me what's going on.
Yeah,
okay.
And again, you can't really, you can't, if it's confidential information.
Absolutely.
So, for the most part, what the public can do, if you leave your name and number, the worker may get back to you and say, well, give me more insight into what's happening with this case. Again, educational neglects don't have a lot of teeth to them, but at the same time, we're mandated as a school to make phone calls, to make the reports. But again, you could uncover a whole lot more under that one blanket, that one particular charge or allegation per se.
Allegation.
So signs, I think, again, when in doubt, check it out. That's what I told all my teachers.
Say that again, right over that camera.
When in doubt, check it out. Make a phone call. Listen, I'm not sure, but let me run this by you.
And again, what's the number?
461-5690.
Okay, Tim, is there any way to put that number up? Is it possible?
No.
So, again,
Because we're so high tech.
with this chair too, right?
I like this chair. I think I'm right. I sat in it the first week or two. I love this chair. I'll switch with you right now. I like this chair.
The couch used to be over there.
Oh, really? Okay.
No, but you enjoy what you do.
I mean, I do, because I think I give...
You feel like you're making a difference.
Well, I feel like, at least when people come across me, I give them a sense of respect. And even if there is an issue of neglect or abuse, that there's a sense of respect for somebody. You know what I'm saying? Because I always put myself in those shoes. What if you come knocking at my door? And again, the hardest part about working CPS is that people are like this. The defenses are high.
The more you're knocking on the door and they open it.
And I say Child Protective.
Absolutely.
Because now you're questioning...
Oh, now, their parenthood.
Exactly.
Oh, I'm not raising my kid right.
Well, not just their parenthood, but also in the sense of their being.
True.
So I have to use a lot of it is helping people understand the word allegations. Someone saying something about you, we're just checking it out.
And the first thing they ask, who said something? Who said something?
And that's, of course, confidential.
Yeah.
So, people think automatically, oh no, I'm going to call Child Protective, they're going to snatch up the kids and remove them. No, it's a long process to remove children from parents. It takes an investigation to take place. All kinds of background information has to be gathered. It's not that easy like people think. People think like we're cops, bang indoors and snatch up kids and run out. So, it's, for me, it's about giving the families the respect that they do. And understand another statistic that's really interesting. 80% of our cases are spite cases. What's a spite case? A spite case is an ex-boyfriend, girlfriend, in-law, neighbor. So you got 80% of people using Child Protective as a way to...
As a weapon.
As a weapon, exactly.
Yeah,
So, and unfortunately, folks don't get that. So when I go into a home, I may see some things that may not be up to my standards, but I got to be careful about my standards as opposed to what the standard.
You know what? I gotta speak on that because I've been working in the housing field for some time now, almost 10 years, and now I'm with the city. My previous job, my standard was having this wall looking nice and fine. Now the standard with the city, as long as you got a coat of paint, doesn't matter how aesthetically cute it is. So I have to learn to understand, and it's hard for me because I have high standards with how you should have your home. Right. Now, here's my standard, here's their standard. I gotta make sure that I stay within this standard. If they fall way below it, they're right above it, I can't say nothing. I can't say nothing with the way someone lives. They can live like a pig. Now, the most thing I can do is hit them up for poor housekeeping.
Right.
And that's a violation if it's really bad. And that violation, you only use it if it's like, I see people live like really bad, but it's gotta be severe for me to hit that violation. That's one violation I don't hit too often.
But what our standard is minimal degree of care. What's minimal degree of care? Food, clothing, shelter.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, it may not be food, clothing, shelter to your standard, but again, as long as the child is not in imminent danger, we got to the point where people don't understand that we're not preventive. People think that we go in there and we're going to prevent something from them. No, we're after the fact. And that's a hard concept for people to understand. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we can't stop something from happening. We have to actually react or respond to a situation. People think that we're like police, that we could just go in there. We think something's gonna happen. That's why we're here. Not necessarily. You know what I'm saying? We have to see something happen. We have to have something happen, an injury. We have to have some suspicion that something's going on for us to actually make any kind of contact. So
It's a process.
it is. It's a process, and it's a process that frustrates both the family that you're dealing with, the workers that at the other end, as well as the public.
And the people who are making the allegations.
Well, the reporters, yeah.
Some people that, like, I don't want to see this kid in this danger no
Right.
more. They get frustrated because, like, these people ain't doing nothing.
Right.
Well, there's a process. And it's hard for people to understand that. Like, in my job today, I vacated someone yesterday. I vacated out of the property. I didn't physically take them out, but I slapped a vacate on the property. Now, the owner and the landlord think, like, yeah, good, let's get him out of there. I'm like, no. That's not my job. That's your job. Now, if this particular case, not to give details, they have no electricity, they have sewage in the basement, and they have no heat. No heat. So they're in not good conditions to live under that household. I can't kick them out right away. I can't go with the court or the city. It's a process. So if that so I hit the vacate on. I have to wait and see. Are these people? I tell them. I try to put the Oscar-winning acting on. You need to go. You need to go right now. I can't make them go, but they don't know that. They don't know that I can't force them out. If they know that, they'll stay in there for a while. So now if they stay in there for 2 or 3 weeks, I'll come back. I'll talk to my supervisor. Listen, I put a vacate on this property 2 or 3 weeks ago. They're still in there. What you want to do? Now he'll look at the case. He'll assess it. If he feels it's deemable for a physical vacate, he'll go through the process legally, and we'll go in there with the board up crew and what Red Cross or the animal control, whatever it takes, police department, go in there and take people out because we don't want people living in those conditions. It's not because we don't want a household over them. We just don't want that household over them. That household is not livable conditions. We need you out.
So it's a process, and it's a very frustrating process. And again, it's a very imperfect system, that we're working under, and we need people to have patience with us sometimes as CPS workers. Sometimes, and I can't lie, some CPS workers are not exactly up to standard either. They can get a little slack, or they pump themselves.
Everybody has their own
yeah. So
do you get emotionally attached sometimes?
I think the worst was my very first removal, where I was working as a youth counselor at Udicci Street Center, and we walked into a house to make a.
That was years ago.
Yeah, we were doing a mediation between neighbors, and apparently the neighbor, the one lady, she had like 5 kids at the ripe old age of like 22, and
there's no TV in the house.
Okay. So,
are you the father? Nah, hold on, Maury. You are the father.
So we get there, and the little boy's jumping around. It's like, I. And I'm like, so I'm talking to the moms about setting up this mediation.
Those little baby kids.
And my partner at the time looked and said, Harry, you need to check this out. So when I looked, because I worked for CPS way back, I looked, there was an iron mark hitting his anus, as well as the bottom part of his scrotum. And it was
hard. He didn't have a diaper on or clothes on?
Right, he didn't have a diaper on because it was stinging him. So the claim was that, he fell on the iron. No way. Because that means he had to spread his cheeks.
He would have jumped off like that.
Right on the iron.
Yeah.
To get that. That was somebody was changing his diaper and went like this to him with the iron. So I looked at that, I said, we got to call this in. And there's no way in the world. You better, and I told the woman, you better have your excuse, or lo que sea, your reasoning for this down pat. And sure enough, that same day when the kid went to the hospital, they removed every single child, and we had to be the facilitator of it for the most part. So that broke my heart. I felt horrible, but at the same time, I knew in my heart those kids were going to be safe. Turns out she had a history from where she came from. I want to say either Connecticut or something, but it was really heart-wrenching because it was one of my first removals here in Rochester, where I wasn't even a CPS worker. I was just someone who went to make to do a neighborhood mediation. And the babies are crying. They know what's coming. And, we had pizza for them. We played with them, tried to distract them. And it was hard. But even when things are set up, even when the parents know they have to go into rehab and we got to put the kids in placement because there's no other family resource,
At the end, they realize that that's what's best.
Well, yeah, but it still hurts because they can't be with their parents.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
For better, for worse, kids only know their family, their moms, their dads. You know what I'm saying? And you know, they still cry for them. So I like to think that I try to be that kind of person who tries to help them make that situation less traumatic for them by either singing some songs, getting some McDonald's, or getting some toys for them. You know, distracting them from that.
If you don't mind me saying, with respects to you, this is amazing coming from someone that, if you don't mind me saying, doesn't have any children.
Right. I don't have children.
Harry doesn't have any children, and Harry's a dear friend of mine. And for Harry to be that from the heart to do something like that and take this, I mean, it's real. It's real hard. It's difficult. No matter whether you have children or don't. But imagine someone that doesn't, and to look at another parent that doesn't appreciate and raise those kids right, when it's not that he can, he just never had the opportunity, I guess. Right. But you know, he doesn't have children. Nevertheless, and you know, I'm just saying, it's not that he can. I'm just saying. Without respect.
Sorry, what age did you have your vasectomy?
No, he can. It's just, he can. I'm just saying, life played the way he did, right? Life played the way it did. And not for nothing, if it was me, I'd be pissed off. And I'm pissed off as a parent. I'd be even more pissed off with a parent, an individual without kids. Right. And be like, I don't even have kids. Whether I could or couldn't have kids, I don't have kids.
Struck a nerve.
Apparently. But that would bother me. Like, you have kids, and look how you treat them. Look at how you treat them. God bless you. There's people in the world that cannot have kids. And look at how you treat the ones that God blessed you with. There's people out there with 6, 8, 10 kids, and they treat them all like crap. And you know what? I've been learning over the years that women are just having kids just to collect that check, collect that income tax check.
I mean, it's also there's a number of factors that you brought up, and I think one of the things that I want to jump to conclusions about people is that you only know what you know. So you know.
Thank you.
If your mother and father treated you this way, at some point you start off by saying, I don't want to do that what my mom and pops did, but you fall into that process, you fall into that into those steps, because unless you got some help for it and realize it for yourself that you know I need to really change my ways, you fall into that trap. I mean, we all do to some degree, but you need to get that help to realize, I need to back off. In terms of people having babies, I think.
You think babies are having babies?
Oh, definitely.
You think education is a problem?
Rochester has the highest teenage pregnancy rate.
You're good at percentages. I like that. And you're good at that.
I don't have the recent percentage.
No, but I'm saying, how about STDs?
Highest infant mortality.
We have the highest infant mortality, highest pregnancy rate. We have the highest STD rates.
Yep.
Outside of New York, per capita. So, and these are the things that I talk to kids about all the time in school.
Like, dude, I see what you see. I see it too.
Yeah.
Maybe not to your degree, but I walk into these homes and I'm like, people live here? Like, people live here. Like, I don't understand it. And it's like, either they were raised wrong or they failed to be raised right. I don't know what the story is, obviously. I'm not going to sit down and interview somebody, but something went wrong along their path. And I see people living in some ways, let me tell you, disgusting. Disgusting, like really, really bad. Until you walk in the shoes that Harry's walked and I walked and other people that go into general public housing, your mouth would drop. Because you're used to living in a certain way where you love, I'm good. I don't got roaches. I don't got nothing. I got ants once in a while. I got a spider up there and whatever. But when you got rats this big and you can't fight them because you can care less and that's just the way you live, it's really hard for...
Why do you care less? Why is it that people care less?
I don't.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say that they care.
I think it's a combination of things. I think it's
that I go with.
Environmental. Where you live, like sometimes you don't have a choice. You have to live in the hood in poverty because you can only afford $200 or $300 a month.
Exactly.
Sometimes it's also psychological, mentally. You know what I'm saying?
That I lean on a lot.
Where you feel like as though.
I think you got to be crazy to live in that.
Well, I mean, your environmental state is also reflective of your mental state sometimes. If you feel like crap, then you're gonna live in crap to some degree. And if you don't get the help to deal with that, which is a big issue for a lot of, especially single young mothers, you know, to feel good about themselves. Because sometimes the baby is that love that they can't get from either mommy or papi or their boyfriend.
Right.
So they think that baby's going to give them that love, but when that baby starts to react in a certain fashion, whether it be starting to cry, teething, and it's not emotional.
Or when they get older, start gang banging and going on the streets and doing all types of drugs.
That's another thing. But I mean, initially, you know, when that baby starts to cry, and the mother's like, "Why are you crying? You only cry with me. Go to grandma." But they don't understand that it's not grandma, it's not the baby, it's just the baby has needs that needs to be met.
Absolutely.
And again, you're young in the head, you haven't developed yourself, so you kind of feel this baby doesn't love me, this baby doesn't care about me. So you have that outrageous stuff, and of course in the extreme, putting babies, you know, like drowning them or hurting them or putting cigarettes all on them because you're trying to get them to stop or trying to get them to
I can only imagine what you've seen, brother.
Well, I mean, I've been blessed that I mean, those horrific situations I haven't been a part of per se. But I've heard the stories, and you know, it does play with your heart because I do have nieces and nephews that I love to death, and I know when it comes to things, one of my nephews was sort of played with once by another little boy, and I remember going ballistic from 350 miles away, and the first thing I did was call my boy at Impact, who's a great friend of mine, and I said, "Listen, this happened to my nephew. I need to know what things do I need to work on." Yeah. So he told me what to do, and then my sister's reaction was perfect. Thank God she dealt with it, and to this day, you know, this happened when he was 5. He's now 10. You know, it didn't really have an impact on him per se. You know, it was just one of those situations like a boy hitting him.
Yeah.
Per se. So, but the job is tough. I try to go in there with an open heart. I try to, you know, not to get spiritual, but I try to tell the Lord to fill my heart with love. Because you don't know what's happening for these people.
You don't know what you're going to walk into.
Right, you don't know what you're going to walk into. And I think, but I've been blessed enough, after 23 years, I've never been...
you're fortunate, dude.
A hit. I've never been, you know, assaulted, per se. People give me the respect that I give them, that I show them. Even when they kick me out, mother effing this, that, the other, get the hell out of here. I hear you. You have a great day. Here's the worker. Take care of yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no doubt.
Because again, they have rights, and we have to be respectful of those rights as public servants. You know what I'm saying? I can't take it personal.
You can't.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm pretty sure that if somebody came to my house, my defenses would be like this.
Like, get the out of here.
Exactly. So,
yeah.
And you know, the blessing of working both for the city school district and Child Protective is that when I've gone to homes that I know, I get that open door. You know what I'm saying? And then of course the next thing that comes out of my mouth is that understand this is between us. So if I see you in school, you know, I won't say a word, you know, confidentiality. And people tend to have a sense of like, okay, thanks for understanding where I'm coming from. So, you know.
Before I move on to the next topic, which is a more enlightened topic, because that's deep. That is a tough topic for people to talk about. Before I go there, do you have any questions?
I'm good. I mean,
did you hear everything?
I mean, I've worked with at-risk youth for 6 years in the student ministry, and some of the stuff that I've seen, some of the stuff that I've heard, you know, and you can't do much but love them. You know what I mean? You can't do much. Fortunately, I mean, I never had a dad growing up, but I had my uncle, and my uncle was my dad. He took care of me in every way possible, and most of these kids just need to be loved. I have every excuse in the book to be dead or in prison, but somebody loved me through my situation.
It's funny you say that. I worked for the school district for 5.5 years, and I had the worst kids. I challenge anybody. At that time, I had the worst kids in the county. They were so bad. There was 15 of us, 15 kids, and there was a teacher and me, and that's it. And because of the way I held myself together, I actually got this special assignment for the next 4 years, which was a blessing. Because I got, you know, summer school as well. You don't get promised that when you're a paraprofessional. And the kids, they were, dude, I'm talking about mental, physically, educationally, and emotionally disabled kids. First of all, I'm opposed to that. You never mix those things up. You just that's like oil and vinegar. You don't mix those up. They all have their own separate and different needs, I feel. And to mix that jungle up, dude, there was times where I only had 2 or 3 kids in the class because everybody else was suspended. Yeah. It was crazy. But I stood there. I stood there tough. And I stood there humble. And I never reacted to their bull. And at the end, man, those kids respected me. And they only wanted somebody that can listen to them and care. That really freaking cared. That cared. And to this day, they'll see me. What's up, Nieves? What's up, Mr. Nieves? And we're talking about
my daughter's now 18, going on 19. This is about a little over 15 years ago. These kids they're grown men now, parents. And they will see me to this day and give me nothing but the utmost respect. It wasn't easy, let me tell you. I did not get paid close to what I should have gotten paid. But let me tell you, the impact I made, if I impacted one, that felt good to me. But I impacted quite a few. To this day, they still in contact with me. And I see them and they're like, because I understood them. Because I came from where they came from. Maybe not as hard as they did, because they were going through some really crazy stuff with their parents in their home. Because the problem started at home. And just to deal with them, I mean, let me tell you, there were some kids that were rough, but they had that thick skin, thick. But over the year, no, thicker than that. And over the year, I grew on them.
But you said something interesting, Rick. When people talk about love and they talk about giving love, there's also love that has to be weighted in the sense that you can't just say, te quiero la gracia. I'm gonna laugh at your little funny things. Oh, that's part of their culture. They use the N-word like that. You can't accept. Your love is also letting you know your limits and your boundaries.
Absolutely. And you know what's funny? I was tough on them. Right. I sent a kid 3 times to get mental hygiene arrested, and at the end of the day, he would not leave the school unless I came. And a couple of those times was because I sent him to the room, to the office, and he started to freak out. He got mental hygiene arrested, but he would not leave until he came and see me. It's like a love-hate, like, I'm going to act bad with you, but I'm doing that for attention. Right. He did it for attention because he was close to me. I know he wasn't going to do nothing in school. You know what I did? Because instead of having to distract the whole school, the whole class, I bought him, he liked to draw, so I bought him a book on how to draw. Like, you're not going to, listen, dude, you already know you're not going to do nothing in class but mess up. But here's a book. You want to draw? I encourage that. Take it, shut the hell up, and draw. And he appreciated me for that. Because I gave him a little tool to, just occupy himself and work on something that he liked to do, which, in my opinion, was a positive thing. And he appreciated that.
But that's the issue that I think what we find in the city school district is that people mistaken those things about what is love. Unconditional love it still has some conditions in the sense of a boundary. And when you love something or you love a child in the sense that you're willing to take whatever he throws at you and say, oh, it's okay. No, it's not okay. I recently had a situation where a young man, for the first time in my career, took something from me. And I was flabbergasted because I was shocked because I was really helping I was trying to help this boy. And apparently, I caught him really quick, of course. And when he took it from me, I spoke to him. I said, listen, it's not about the money. It's not about the money. It's the principle of the matter. And the fact that you could have said, Mr. Rodan, I need something. There you go, no problem. You know what I'm saying? And so when he took it, and he didn't see me for a couple of days, he was struggling with that. And I knew it was a struggle.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I noticed that too.
Because I heard somebody that I cared about. Yeah. So I sat with him. He had his head down the whole time of the meeting, and it turned out that I said to him, "Listen, it's not about the money. It's about our relationship. That I care about you so much that I want you to be successful." You know what I'm saying? Tears came out, and I said, "It's okay to cry, but I want you to know that I'm going to be here for you no matter what. But what you did was wrong,
right?
And you hurt.
You need to own up to that too.
And you need to own up to that." And I always, and again, please forgive me, but the Lord has always blessed me with that respect. You know what I'm saying? That I can reach a kid's heart. And it's not that I have any special skills or anything like that. It's just something that it was given to me by God, I think. And that's why I do what I do.
It's also where you came from too, man. I mean, you can empathize with what these kids are going through.
Yeah, I think that's a part of it, but I know people that came from where I came from, and they have the same attitude, like, man, if I did it, you could do it. Man, just man up. It's like, well, wait a minute. You never know what the circumstances are.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Like I tell kids all the time, I got 52 years on this planet. You got 13, 14 plus years on this planet.
Yeah.
But in those 13, 14 years, you might have lived a lifetime that I've never seen in my life. So let's talk.
I done with a kid that she was as a baby. Her parents were murdered while they were holding her. Yeah.
It's tough. So.
But let's move on to something real quick. We only got a few minutes left. Let's talk about your new little endeavor, your little side thing that you like to do, that you have fun with, something that you like to be enlightened by, something that we're actually all part of right here, which is stage acting and stage play, stage theater, and we like to call it vaudeville theater.
Yeah. We recently, me and gentleman right here, Mr. Rick Nieves, we wrote a play called Que Locura, How Crazy, and it took about 2.5 months. Prior to that, we were involved with the Macho's Place, which is a play written by Nita Rivera. through Latino Theater Productions, where we played the roles of various characters hanging out at a barbershop. It was kind of like barbershop meets Latinos. And
great reviews, great attendance.
Great
all sold out. The third day was overpacked. It was awesome.
And now we're just, after that, we did it twice. We did it once for ourselves for the Latino Theater to come.
Then we did it for the Fringe.
And then we did it for the Fringe. Fringe wasn't too. That experience was kind of. I wasn't too thrilled about that process.
Everyone says that about me.
No, not the process. It was like, hope you like our show. Okay, get out next.
Yeah, it was too quick. I didn't like that. I didn't like that.
So, Rick came to me and says, hey, man, we got to do something. We got to do a comedy. So I had in mind, hanging with the Homeboys, an old independent film from way back in the days.
Yeah.
You remember? Mm-hmm. Johnny Gazamos and a couple of other guys. I can't remember. I think was Chris Rock in it?
No,
it wasn't Chris. He was too young for that. But it was a couple of guys in there, comedians. And he said, no, I want to do family. So I said, okay. So we sat, we brainstormed, and we went through all kinds of character developments in terms of archetypes and of what we see in families.
Pros and cons. Failures of success, strong
definitely.
Points, weaknesses.
Dysfunctional, but at the same time functional, because that's how we all live, I think. And came up with this thing called Que Locura. And right now we're in the process of producing it as well. And it's been a challenge, to say the least.
The least.
Do you need a director?
Well, right now we need about 4 Gs.
What happened?
We need about 4 Gs.
We need an executive producer.
Right.
We need about 4 Gs.
I think one of the things that we brought up, that we talked about in terms of the challenges is how difficult it is to work with folks that are creative sometimes.
That's the biggest challenge right there.
From our hearts.
Personalities and dealing with a big cast and. What we deal with Eagles. We dealt with Eagles probably not for the least to say, but at the highest levels, and we dealt with a lot of challenges, and we're still here.
Why don't you do a Kickstarter?
You know what? You're the second. The second person that told us that.
Somebody
do a Kickstarter because especially for the arts, do a Kickstarter because you don't need that much money.
Yeah, I'd have to look into it more because I don't know what the Kickstarter.
Yeah, but isn't that what she meant over there at the School of the Arts?
At the School of the Arts, the woman was talking about
read-through, right?
A read-through, which is more like a focus group,
right?
Where you read through your script and you get reactions.
You get reactions to it.
But we're looking at a target date right now of Father's Day weekend, and we got Cholo over here, one of the actors.
Yep.
He actually plays a very pivotal part.
Not even like that anymore.
one of his lines. But I call it a comedy, a family comedy with heart. Amen. If you want to sum it up, that's what it is. It's a family comedy with heart. It's comedy first, but then it's family. It's all about family. It has different social issues, and it has a moral at the end, and it's heartful. And it's surrounded by a father, which is played by Harry himself. Unfortunately, we couldn't find someone to play the role, so now Harry is not only writer and director, but he's also playing in it, and so am I playing in it now because we couldn't find someone to play my role.
Let's talk about your role.
We don't want to talk about my role. Anyways,
but somebody out there who's looking to.
By the way, yes, if anybody's looking to act, please reach out to us ASAP. You guys can leave a link on www.Udicci.TV. Reach out to Chuck or Tim, let them know we need Latinos to speak. They have to be bilingual because it is a bilingual play. More English and Spanish and English is both. But it's amazing what we do. We're amateurs. We're not professionals. And it's again Barrio Theater, and we have a good time with it. It's fun. It's amazing. And you go on stage, and let me tell you the amazing feeling that you have when you feel like you accomplish something beautiful, and that's what I'm trying to achieve here. Harry and I are trying to achieve here with something we can walk off and say, you know what? If we never do something again for the rest of our lives, we always got Que Locura, and that's fun. And it was a great time, and I'm still hoping for many more memories to come up.
I think what happens with people, they see something on stage and they want to be a part of it desperately
until they find out.
I mean, being a part of some kind of talk show, being a part of any kind of endeavor, until they see the work behind the scenes and they see the work that has to take place.
Chuck and Tim can tell you about that
in terms of setting up the thing, and
it's a lot of work.
Do you
think it's how many people you think we have come in and drop out? You think 5. It's been about? And you count it?
Just for Mino, the father.
That's just one character. 5. I think it's about 10 people that came in and came out.
And good people.
And it's 10 characters total.
Yeah.
There's 10 characters, and we've already had 10 in and 10 out. Not for all of them, but some of them. One character alone has been 5 people. So it's been a challenge because people see it and they're like, for whatever reason, that are not available to us. We don't know why, but I think it's an amazing play. And in my opinion, I'm going to say it straight up because this is Real Talk 360. When you see it unfold, I want you to kick yourself in the ass because you're not a part of it. I hope you're in the audience, getting up and doing this and throwing bouquets of roses because I believe it's going to be an amazing play. Yeah, we're going to get roses. We're going to throw roses out. Encore. That's what you can watch on. No, listen, I hope that you feel that you missed out on something great. This is an awesome experience.
Your discretion.
And let me tell you, along with all the obstacles that have been thrown our way, through adversity, we're going to succeed. We are going to succeed and put this play on. So I look forward to it. Harry, I thank you for being on the show.
Thank you, sir.
I thank Udicci.com.
.TV.
.TV. I was going to move on to Lexington Federal Credit Union. Thank you for that. Thank you for my co-host for tonight, Adrian Franco, Mr. Cholo over here. What's up? Give me a line.
We've been through worse things.
I want to thank you guys for coming out. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Papa.
Thank you.
And we look forward to doing many more amazing things. I'd like to have you back on the show later on and talk about more things because you know your background, your field. It's just I think, in my opinion, we only hit a speck of it. There's just so much more that people need to learn about with child protection and counseling, and I think it goes even deeper. I think what we just talked about was just more professional, but I think people need to understand that when you need someone to talk to, you should find someone. Amen. Professional or as a friend, find something or someone, because things can get really rough, and that's something we could talk about next time because people have been known to take their lives and not have someone to talk to. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Real Talk 360. Julio, I hope you get a sunburn on your nose. I hope a crab bites in the ass. I hope you get drunk and miss the next 2 days. I hope you miss the wedding over. Oh, whatever. Have a good time, Papa. I love you, man. Real Talk 360. Thank you. God bless. Good night. 9 o'clock on the dot. Who does that, baby? Only me. Only me, baby. Oh!
Nice to meet you. On the Lower East Side.
Yeah,
All right.
that was just good.
Lower East Side. I went to Clinton and Delancey. Yeah. Well, that's where my cousins grew up.
Through its time, and this is called It's All the Blues to You.